So that means that nobody can alter it, because if one person tries altering it, then the copies that are in other people's hands obviously show the attempted alteration.
Sure.
Okay? However, and I suppose for the currencies, you want to have some degree of autonomy in terms of, if you have a transaction, you don't want anybody to be a gatekeeper on whether that transaction occurred.
Exactly.
However, what's happening with Bitcoin is, because of the flood of community members, there have been situations in which certain transactions didn't pop up on the register because there wasn't enough room for it.
Ooh.
Yes, and so those transactions weren't registered
because
until
the systems need to expand. They need more hardware and memory and all that stuff.
That's exactly right. But then there's really no way to collect the money. This is why, after you read that article, you'll see where I mentioned that there are some industries for which centralized control is desirable and preferable.
What can you do? Sort of could you do a distributed centralized control? So it's an unknown exactly where it's distributed, but it's more centrally distributed. So it could be all over the place. But do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, you could have a hybrid.
Yes, a hybrid.
There is some rule set, but there's multiple different actors implementing that rule set. But there's a controlled number of multiple different actors. It's not just anybody can become a control point. Is you could have multiple control points, and if one of them doesn't meet your goals, you go to another one.
Exactly, but it's still not centrally controlled in the sense of like the Federal Reserve kind of centrally controlled. It's a distributed. Democratic situation, and it can grow, but it's a hybrid. So from a computing standpoint, we don't have the issues, but from a people control standpoint, that doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, right. And my system can handle that type of a situation. I call it sub-peddling, where you would have one organization collecting their own version of a blockchain that, and they can publish it independently, but then what they'll do every so often is they will throw that into a bigger blockchain. So you can have basically a hierarchy of blockchains.
Yeah, excellent. Exactly.
One for the banking industry, or maybe a couple for the banking industry. Maybe like the Asia banking industry in North America, in Europe banking industry.
Yeah, it's to manage this hardware software situation, because you're going to have a limitation, and not every server system. If your whole system across the world is dependent on every single server system being able to handle the volume, you're hosed. At some point, if some idiot didn't update their thing, you're stuck. But if you have a hybrid distribution system where, okay, this one failed, but so what? We don't need them all to, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I view the totally distributed blockchain systems as largely an email system that doesn't have a spam filter. At first, when there's only people that are enthusiastic about Bitcoin involved, okay, that's great. But later on, when you start getting all sorts of other people showing up, the Me Too's, and then you get malicious people involved, who are just going to end up doing transactions for no other purpose than something like the equivalent of a denial of service attack.
Yes.
And so that's the backdoor stuff. You can screw up a server, because if all distribution has to occur at the same time in every server, you could screw it up by just not letting it happen. That's true. And so basically you could have some hacking group disrupting a virtual currency that doesn't have a lot of control over how it grows, merely by, right now what they do is they turn people's computers into bots to do distributed denial of service attack. And so a lot of virtual currencies might very well be vulnerable to some type of an attack in which, people's unwitting, people's computers are unwittingly turned into some type of Bitcoin contributor, only for the purpose of clogging up the blocks.
Yeah, you could do it that way. Whereas if you did a hybrid where it's more controlled, but not controlled by, the man, but the man is distributed, but still a hybrid control, then you would eliminate that problem.
Right. So what you want to do is, in that article I mentioned, you read the section distributed versus centralized chain control.
Okay, yeah, send that to me. Excellent.
I just did.
Oh, okay.
And then also a section on verifying printed-only documents with a blockchain.
Can I have people have access to those documents, or is that secret stuff?
Well, I'm hoping to get it published. So just so long as I can say it's not been published anywhere, then yes, you can pass it around. Well,
how about if I don't post it on my website until you give me permission? Until you publish it, then send it to me, and then I'll add it later. But I'll just send it to my son and different people that will be interested.
Yes, I think he will like the explanation of how you can detect forgery in a paper-only document.
Excellent. How wonderful. You know what? This conversation got more fun once we started talking about some of these details. So I really enjoyed this talk with you today, and I really hope people learn who you are, and I think there's a lot of benefits to how you can improve blockchaining and with what you're doing.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate this.
Well, fantastic. You have a wonderful day and a great weekend.
You too.
Okay, thanks. I hope you enjoyed that great interview with Kels. I found it very fascinating to find somebody who actually invented blockchain. The world thinks it's somebody else, and it's really him. And we'll see how history goes down. It's not always fair how history gets tracked. So we'll see if he gets credit for that or if it stays as it is today. We'll see, and we'll keep people posted on that. And I want to remind you again, you can go to sarahwestall.com and listen to all my past podcasts and also this and get contact information for him as well. His email address will be up there in case you have questions for him. And I want to tell you that I do have comments open, but I literally get thousands of spam comments, and I don't know where all that's coming from. And so my spam filter is taking all these comments out. And so I don't have any comments up there because there's literally thousands and thousands of spam comments. So I don't know what to do. We're trying to fix that problem. But you can always send me an email if you have comments or questions or concerns. I would love your feedback on that as well. And I have my email address up on sarahwestall.com as well. So for now, I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
You've been listening to Business Game Changers with host Sarah Westall. Tune in each Monday at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, as Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in Mondays at 12 noon Pacific Time. And learn more about Sarah at sarahwestall.com today.